think we're live now. Yeah, we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have literally one of my favorite guests in the world to have on the show. He's like a brother to me. I have Matthew Mournian, and I say that, if you never tuned into one of the shows we do, we kind of like start off, well, like lately what we've been doing is we'll kind of get into like some conspiracy chat, and then we'll transition into like live readings where he'll do live tarot. And when I say this, I don't say it like with, he's literally one of the best people that you can get a tarot reading from, for real. Like he really is. Like, and just a little bit more about the guest. Matthew Mournian is an energy healer, multidimensional tarot practitioner, and one of the leading voices in the world of psychic development, soul mission activations, and entity implant removal. Through his platforms, rememberyourmission.com, and his YouTube channel, Remember Your Mission, Matthew guides people through the inner architecture of their timelines, helping them identify distortions, heal trauma, reclaim their energy, and awaken latent multidimensional abilities. Matthew specializes in live multidimensional tarot readings, trauma release modalities, energy clearing, and navigating the hidden layers of reality that influence human consciousness. He's a returning fan favorite on the Typical Skeptic Podcast and one of the most trusted healers in the community. Tonight, Matthew returns to offer live readings, break down multidimensional tarot, decode current conspiracies and timelines, and we're going to we'll get into some cool chat. And the only way, with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Matt, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you?
Thank you. It's going pretty good. It's an interesting time to be alive, one of the best, I might say. But man, hasn't the last week or two or the year so far? I mean, I guess it's been a month since I was here, but so many changes, so much is going on. If you're here in the chat, please insert a series of random numbers or, maybe some other inappropriate comments, but also congratulate yourself, because you guys, it looks like we pretty much made it through the year of the snake. So be mindful of the things that fall away from your life over the next few days. They were oftentimes the ones that clung on the hardest over this past year, and a lot of them are going to be leaving. So if you feel like you're in a transition, welcome. Here it is. Anyway, I'm just honored to be here, and thanks.
What I wanted to say, was, I feel like an idiot, dude, because like I said like multiple times on my show, I said we're never going to see the Epstein files. I said because too many people would be implicated. And look what happened. We saw the Epstein files, and dude, I've been following the whole thing. I found out that there's something still going on the island. You know what I mean? And and I found out that he might be still alive. Like Jason in the chat just asked, he's still alive. I think he absolutely is still alive.
He certainly could be. He certainly could be. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. You were saying?
Yeah, but I felt like an idiot because I thought that like we would never see the Epstein files. I really thought, and I thought that both Republicans and Democrats would be implicated, because I thought it was like an elite thing, which that's kind of what it is, because George Bush is in there and he was a Republican, but I mean, he was kind of like the old guard Republicans, like, like the war, not GW Junior guys, but the guy who started the CIA,
totally.
And I mean, and what what's crazy, dude? Like, I haven't really talked about this on my channel much yet, but like, some of the shit that these people are doing is absolutely disgustingly vile. You know what I mean? Like, it's like next level, like cannibalism type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's been a wild thing to behold. It's been a wild thing to watch. I think not necessarily from the perspective of groundbreaking disclosures, because I think for the majority of us that have been following this since probably longer than I have, which was back in 2017, a lot of other people have been aware of this for much longer. It's also kind of interesting watching supposedly what some might call the rest of the world catch up to the things that a lot of us had been talking about in the background for years and getting, maligned and sidelined and shit talked over. And, we're told we were, conspiracy theorists and crazy. And now, lo and behold, here it is. There is one really cool thing that I wanted to mention that we found in there, which is a cool thing that everyone can look at literally tomorrow of all days. Yes, number one, it's the superb owl. But the other thing is, for those of you guys that have been, sifting through the bowels of the Epstein documents, you may have noticed the email where he said, "Are we still going to do World War III on February 8th, 2026?"
What?
It's in there. It's all over. It's all over. I don't know if it's in the specific files. I'm not sure if it's an older dump or a newer one, because I have not specifically looked for it on the Department of Justice website, but it has been posted alongside many other things. And so there's a chance maybe that was a wild, bold inaccuracy, but I think we're looking at that with a lot of these files. I think that, for those that would maybe read the energy of it or kind of look a little deeper, which is honestly all of us at this point in varying degrees, it seems as though it was even more carefully curated in terms of chosen content and chosen individuals than I think a lot of us, or at least myself, was really planning on. I didn't think they would hang out any sacred cows and call out certain people, but yet they certainly have. And in that, I find myself questioning certain aspects of it. One of the things that I find to be somewhat concerning, or I think worthy of greater discernment, maybe we could say examination, would be the unique phenomenon that's come up around the release of these files and how suddenly Jeffrey Epstein was literally involved in every area of conspiratorial storytelling, or every area. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he wasn't, because we're seeing a lot of proof and a lot of so-called documentation of those things. But I do find it interesting the amount of things that are getting pinned upon this person, almost as if, they're going through a bit of a scapegoating process as well to continue to divert attention away from other people. And I know I started out on a rant, so I'll close it with this. The way I really see this at this point is that he was just a low-hanging fruit. He was the one.
I agree.
Just like another Diddy, he was a low-hanging fruit, just like Peter Nygaard, who's an interesting and creepy, deeply fascinating person. And, all the other ones, they were just the low-hanging fruit, and they were part of the generation that was on its way out. Just like you were talking about George Bush 1. You know what I mean? They'll sort of hang out the older generation at a certain stage to sort of get rid of them. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here, because as far as I can tell, energetically speaking, there are innumerable other, if you want to call them islands or networks or programs going on that would honestly pale in comparison to what we've seen in this. And so anyway, I'll shut up there, but
I think you brought up a good point. I think we are all vindicated for all this stuff we've been saying, and it actually came true in the Epstein files. Like everybody's been saying like how vile some of these motherfuckers are at the elite, and like that's absolutely what we're seeing. Like absolute vile, disgusting, like cannibalistic, pedophilic behavior that just like cannot go. I mean, like it's like how. And then what I was saying, I don't know if you heard. I said this in another show. I said, how do these people like face the public, and they act like they're so normal, but then behind the scenes they're doing all this weird sex shit, and not just sex shit, but like demonic, like like what I say, it's crazy, man. Like even with Epstein. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, it's wild, but yeah, please go on.
Well, even with Epstein, I watched the 2-hour interview he did with Steve Bannon,
right?
And he's so normal, and I was like, what the fuck, this dude's a complete psycho. I was like, how he can be so normal, but then
he was shockingly articulate, very, very intelligent, incredibly well spoken. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on. Yeah,
it's okay. No, you're exactly right. It's weird, right? It's like it's scary that people can be that.
It is. It's an interesting phenomenon, and then we look at the that photo. What was it? The one that's being passed around. That's the supposed bearded version of him walking around Lebanon.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I feel sad about that one. Anyway, I don't want to make it offensive toward anyone, but I don't think they're that stupid. I don't think they're that stupid, and I don't think they're that brazen, because of what's still going on within the power structure of the so-called elitist factions. I don't think that they're. I think based upon the amount of uproar that came out surrounding his supposed demise, it makes no sense that he would appear in that form if he is still alive. However, I do want to introduce an alternate thing to that, because first off, I will say I believe 100% that there's a great chance that this man might not have died. I'm willing to throw in, I'll like throw some bones on that one. However, I'm just going to be real. And a lot of people in our community are not going to want to swallow this. As far as I can tell, and I'm willing to say I'm wrong. I know I'm doing a lot of disclaimers here, but really, this is what shows up for me, was that he did not commit suicide in prison. He was removed alive from his prison, and he was taken to an altar place where he was ritually sacrificed, knowing full well that that would be his demise. And that the original version of him was sacrificed shortly after leaving prison, and I think he got brought out in a wheelchair onto some medical thing. Suddenly they've kind of hinted at it and talked about the story. And what I received when that first went down, or when I first saw that, was that he was actually dead, and that he had been taken to a place and ritually sacrificed. However, I'm really willing to be wrong on that, and I'll say why do I say I'm willing to be wrong on that? Because honestly, I think it would just be a really fun twist in the overall story. Like, damn, he was still alive. What? There he was the whole time. You know what I mean? Just because it kind of furthers the tragic and abhorrent lore that follows that individual. You know what I mean? It sounds almost cool in a way. And I don't mean cool, good, awesome, just like, damn, just how some people can withstand and keep going, kind of like the way Fidel Castro did. For those that don't know, all the times the CIA and the government tried to kill him, and he just kept going and going. I'm not saying it was a good thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I'm not saying, we give homage to his ability to survive. I'm just saying, like, that would be a wild twist in the story, would it not?
It really would, it really would. And I mean, like, remember when Carrie Cassidy came out with the theory that thought Charlie Kirk wasn't dead, but then I asked you about it, and you said you felt like his energy died that day. Like, what are you picking up from Epstein? Is it kind of what you said? Because you can feel people's energy. Do you feel a dead energy there, or do you feel like are you unsure?
Honestly, I can tell you what I believe in the moment, but I also want to say that this is subject to change, because the reality is I haven't really spent a lot of time like digging into it, which is interesting, because just in the past 24 hours, I was given a really cool remote viewing project that's literally sucked up the entirety of my day. It's the first one I've had in a while, and I'm just like, my mind is still blown by it. But, when I feel his energy now, so somebody out there is going to laugh. Get ready. Cool kids laugh. It feels as though it's been distributed through many individuals, and that there's pieces of him essence that continue on in forms, that don't really make sense to me at this time. Some of those forms could be what we call clones. However, I try to be very realistic and grounded in making the assumptions about this person's a clone, that person's a clone, this, because I think there's still so much truth that's been obscured around that. I certainly think it's possible. And I do believe that there's some pieces of him that still persist, or there's some element, a chance that he's still out there. And I'd be willing to say there's clones, but until I get a better piece of evidence or a stronger vibration that indicates to me personally that he's alive, like, who knows, maybe he'll pop up and it'll be a fun thing. But I still believe that he died. Just like honestly, I will put, I shouldn't say it like that. I'd be willing to put a lot on the fact that Charlie Kirk is gone too. And, I know everybody loves Carrie Cassidy, and that's awesome. She's got some really cool things going on, but I just don't. I mean, I would think that any truly professional, self-respecting reader of energy, a person who really, really values discernment and truth from an energetic perspective, is going to have a really hard time looking at what happened to Charlie Kirk on tape and telling us that that was a fake scene, because you can feel the essence of a person leave their body. Now, here's the thing. I can't say that I have that same feeling around Epstein, which is why it's confusing. You know what I mean? So I guess we could say inconclusive. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw pictures of him in supposedly in Israel or Lebanon or something or
Mhm.
both. Maybe he's like,
Yeah.
you know, and then I was like, oh God, what's he doing over there? You know what I mean? Because like, there's no, I mean, he's not going to be. He could probably set up some kind of weird like, dungeon somewhere over there, and nobody
Well,
would notice.
honestly,
You know what I mean?
it it feels like the based on the amount of just ability they had and freedom, it stands to reason that in a situation like that, he would engage in some kind of a great alteration of his physical appearance. And I think that just goes along with common sense for rational people who don't want to be seen or known, unless it's one of those things where they're just doing, like the middle finger to everyone and like, "Haha, whatever, bro." But I don't even think the Israeli government has any incentive to ensure his survival, because if you look at like the pattern of what he became toward the end of his supposed demise, any intelligence agency in the world would define that as a broken asset, a total liability, something that can no longer be trusted and is absolutely compromised. And so, based on the kind of the what I've been seeing within that whole debacle, I won't even get into that. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem as though they have some vested interest in ensuring his survival.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
What do
wrong.
you get from what's going on the island? Do you think the FBI is there trying to, like, find out what actually was going on there, or do you think that there's still like occult activities going on there, or like weird
I
shit?
would imagine there still are. But I don't have any evidence to indicate that. I'm going purely by what I would call empathic feeling. It feels as though there's still a lot of activity there. If you want to get really specific, it feels as though there was a period of inactivity and then a return, whether it be a frequency or a spiritual energy or something that's native to the area or just was drawn in there due to the amount of ritual. However, that could also be because we're in a period of time right now, like literally the week before the Super Bowl is usually one of the time periods in which there are some of the heaviest amounts of occult rituals going on in the background. And it's historically a time where all those that are involved, or if you want to call it enslaved, or whatever the cool word is, by those groups, they will be called to pay their allegiance, to pay homage, to engage in certain rituals. And so maybe I'm saying that because there's just an activation of what we could call lower dimensional or dark energy that takes place around this time of year. I mean, everybody knows it. I mean, it's literally the week period, oftentimes from Grammys until the Super Bowl. However, other people have noted that the Super Bowl happens at different dates during the year. So it's not a static, like standard, like on these dates, these things happen. It's the space in between two occult rituals is a very, very potent time for them to create change, to create different outcomes, to set up safety protocols for whatever's going on at the Super Bowl, to make certain all these things. Assets will go, people will die, death rituals will take place in the public eye, which we've seen. Right now we're seeing a sort of ice representation everywhere. I do have a prediction. I think the ice representation will fade, and later on in the year, it will turn to fire, just like we saw a few years back with the DEWs in Maui and whatever was it, LA or whatever. I think we're
Yeah.
going to get another dose of that. And that was also illustrated for those of you guys that watched the opening ceremony of the Olympics, I believe. They held up the torch to this big, snowball thing while everybody walked around in the circle, which is a ritual priming activity. It's how they raise energy, just like they walk around the black cube. You know what I mean? It's a process of raising energy generation, and then they hold the torch to that snowball icon, and it turns red, and it literally lights on fire. And it's like, here we go once again. They're showing us exactly what's going to happen. And so, I don't know. That's just the way I've been seeing it. I could definitely be wrong though. So
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. That whole ice situation in Minnesota is out of control, man. Like I think like it's just on another level of insanity. Like people are walking around
yeah,
with bulletproof vests, and like it's like I think it just needs to be put to rest. They should just call in the National Guard at this point, and just like
really, yeah.
kind of. I don't
Well,
know.
here's one of the problems that comes with that, and I don't have any way to prove this because I know everybody's got a hard on right now for, do you have any proof? No, I don't have any proof. But what I can tell you is I believe that Minneapolis has been chosen as a staging area for a certain period of time as a basically just a place where they have agreed to undergo certain rituals involving violence and political demonstration. Just like we saw a few years back in, what was it, Seattle, where they had that one thing, what was it called, Chaz or some shit, where they made this autonomous zone. You remember that? They had
They took over this. Yeah, I remember that. That was
all of
hilarious.
that
I mean,
stuff.
it was, yeah.
It's basically that. These are staging areas. So we have a lot of staging areas in the United States. We have Minneapolis right now. We have Portland, which we've seen many, many times. I do believe there is one that's very, it's kind of intermittently active or intermittently used with New York. Some might say the entire city of New York City is another one of the staging areas. And then there's other ones. I'm not sure, where all the other ones are, but that's actually been talked about and referenced a lot. So that's not my idea, everyone out there. That's not me just spinning shit. You guys can find it yourself. So, yeah.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I think you're right. And I can't remember what I was going to say. It was important though.
It's all good.
I don't know. Lou, do we want to get over some videos? That would be cool.
Oh, yeah. There is a couple things that I wanted to bring up for, I guess we could call it just everybody's processes of discernment. This is the thing that I've been doing over on our channel every once in a while when I can get the clips set up properly and I have, and I do it on time, where I just want to bring videos in of stuff that's going on in the world and just show people and say, okay, what do you think about this? What is your feeling? Does this feel real? Does this feel false? I think that we are given what we would call right now in our current climate a target-rich environment for those who are seeking to develop higher levels of intuitive clarity, intuitive discernment, and really mostly, and for those that are trying to understand within the midst of all this wild bullshit that's going on in the world, what's actually real, what is not real. Some people often have, well, actually a lot, people have kind of, talk shit to me because I do believe that we as humans absolutely have the ability to know what is real and what is not. But that ability has been so dumbed down and so removed and so suppressed within us that there's so many people in our world right now who have been taught not to believe that. They've been taught, no, there's no way we can know. It's not possible. Now, there are many unknowable truths within our world, but when it comes to the process of reading energy and understanding what we might call the authenticity of certain things, or just the realism that we're being shown right now, especially on the internet in terms of visual representation, because everyone's seen now, it's like the AI can make it, you won't even tell anymore, right? I mean, they're doing hands perfectly. You know what I mean? You really, really have to look at, and I know because like I've shared a bunch of those videos with you, right? It's like mind blowing. So it's like we cannot believe our eyes at this point. In fact, I you know what I mean? We have to believe our heart. We have to believe what we feel. And so my idea is I've just been bringing up videos and being like, hey, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of that? Does this feel real? And so the first one I'm going to show everybody is something that came up on Twitter. Let me get it primed up here. You might hear some echoing in the background, but this came up on Twitter this morning and I sent it to you. And I think this is a really good one for looking at just what you guys pick up about. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to play the video. I'm not going to give it any more setup. I'm going to tell you what it's about. It's about P. Diddy. And let me try to queue up this screen share thing here. Sorry.
I think it'll pop up at the bottom and then I'll add it.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. Sorry. Okay, there's the first one. Hopefully it shows up.
I'm going to add it.
Okay, cool. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna try to get the audio rolling here. Let's see if we can do it. And so this is about, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you guys that are watching, this is about P. Diddy's blood boy. a person whose blood he would siphon off to keep his body fresh and clean from his party lifestyle. He would take him on his yacht, sail out to the ocean, and drain the blood from him. And I know I'm saying that in kind of a flippant way, but you know what I mean? This is a reality. And I think one of the main disclosures that we're receiving in the early parts of 2026 as a result of these files being released, whether or not you want to call them real or not, that's a whole other debate. But what I'm saying is we are discovering as a society that vampirism is literally 100% real. And it's funny because I literally just spent 3 hours on my own channel yesterday reading a chapter about my experience with a real life vampire. So it's like there's a weird timing. There's a bizarre timing with it all. So anyway, I'm just going to play the video. Hopefully the audio works. And here we go.
You were Puffy's blood boy?
From 2004 to 2014.
Don't think I'm stupid, but what's a blood boy?
So when somebody parties too hard or isn't living right, they want a fresh blood in their system, right? I didn't drink, smoke weed, I didn't eat pork, none of that. Diddy saw me and he was like, yo, I got a job for you. He was like, I want that blood. And I was like, whoa. And he drops 10 grand on the table.
10 large.
Yeah. He said, I want a pint of your blood right now.
So that was a one-off or you start you
No, that was the beginning. I'm a universal donor. He thought I was special. He called me his lucky little blood boy. Every 3 months, he would fly me down to Miami. And this was the crazy part. He never actually wanted to do it on land. It wasn't legal at that time.
Yeah.
So we would get on a boat and he would take us to what he would call Oconus, outside of the continental United States.
Yeah.
And on his yacht, he would just drain blood. And he would just drain me, dude. Look at him from 2004 to 2000.
Okay, hold on. Look at his face, guys. I am gonna run it back. First, look at his picture. 2004 Diddy, okay?
4 to 2014. And
look at that face. Look how clean and perfect and youthful.
Tell me if he aged.
Yeah, facts. And he's aging now that he's in prison. He's not all of a sudden Father Time
caught up with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 9 years, the majority of Puffy was made up with my blood. With my blood. With my blood. With my blood.
That is chilling. That is absolutely chilling.
You know what I mean? It's like, boom, vampires are real, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just curious if there's any reactions from anybody out there in the the audience. What do you guys think of this? Does this feel real to you? What's your idea about this? We got a couple people. Chloe Ariel says bullshit. Okay. All right.
I think it's absolutely real. I think Puffy was that big of a scumbag. He would do that,
Well, all you got to do is also look up the other video, which unfortunately I did not have time to queue up. I'm going to look for it in the background. The one with Peter Nygaard talking about getting stem cells. This is another one of the vampire elites.
I can be a little bit gullible, but I actually believe that with Puffy. Like I just do. Like it resonates with me. Like
absolutely, 100% is true. I'm not saying that was the only blood boy, because they're going to need a lot more than one. The need grows greater over time. If you're still choosing to remain ignorant of this fact of life in our world, there's not too much that anyone else can do for you. It's time to wake up and look at the way power has been distributed on this earth. Love it or hate it, we're living in a third density society of duality. We're going to experience the highest highs and the lowest lows. And right now we're in a time in society in which we get to view the lowest of the low. And so a lot of people have a lot of real serious cognitive dissonance around that. To me, it's an embarrassing thing, because a lot of them call themselves intuitives and seekers of truth, and yet they will really, literally won't even look at this shit right in front of their face. And so I'm going to play you this other video here. This is the creepiest one of all, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you guys have already seen this. Some of you have not. You know what I mean? This is a little bit longer, and it's anyway, here we go.
Adding. Oh, I didn't pop
Yeah, I'm putting it on the screen right now. Sorry.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, is it there? Okay, there it is. All right, sorry, a little bit of a delay here. Let's get the okay, audio's good. Here we go. Listen up, everybody.
Stem cell technology that Peter and I invested in is called SCNT.
Oh, it froze.
egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. If it's going to take it out.
A4?
Huh?
Is it A4?
Yeah, and this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa.
So I don't know if you guys notice what he's saying here. He's claiming that the African female DNA, I guess, integrity or the strength of it is supposedly, based on their measurements and their ideas, the most powerful form of stem cells available. And so they're going to comment a little bit more on it.
Have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we would pay you for your egg.
And so for those of you guys that can't hear this, because I know the audio sucks, he just offered to pay them $100 for their eggs. This is one of I forget this guy's specific name. Peter Nygaard's on the other side of the table, but I don't remember this guy's name. But he's literally offering them there in the moment $100 for their eggs. Watch. $500 now. He says he's just bought about $60,000 worth of eggs.
If you have an abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, placenta, in your period blood is so rich with stem cells. We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be.
Look at them; they're creeped out.
And it should go to waste. It's life for somebody else. It's life for mankind.
Look at her; she's traumatized by this.
Dude, this is insane.
So you may not be our top.
And I don't know if you guys heard that part, but he says the best eggs come from age 16 to 17-year-old women. And unfortunately, these girls are, too old for that. You can see their reactions here. Anyway.
It takes me back to like young girls who get abducted by aliens and why the aliens take young girls, because they, they're taking their eggs too,
Oh, yeah.
It's not just, it's like aliens doing it too,
It definitely is. I think it's, for a lot of people, it's a triggering thing to see. For some people, it's very difficult to kind of, accept. I think for those of us that are seeking truth, I think the more that we can inform ourselves about the way the power structure on Earth actually works, I think the better we are going to be at restructuring it. If you want to say defeating it, although I don't think that's really the idea, restructuring, healing, or, whatever it is, it's like we're going to have to look at these things. And it's crazy. Like in the longer video, when Peter Nygaard's commenting upon it, and he's like, he almost starts frothing at the mouth, and he's like, yes. It's like you can see him doing this Gary Oldman like Dracula thing, where he's like, it's like, holy shit, it's so crazy and weird. That,
I just want to put this comment up from Crystal Holland Sash. She says they traffic them until it's time to harvest.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is sickening. But this is what we're dealing with, guys. These are the people that are ruling over us. You know what I mean? And they're doing a really good job at keeping us divided in every way possible. Because they realize that's how they gain power, when they keep us divided. Honestly,
absolutely. And I think one of the things that we discover, which is a very bitter pill, is that the highest echelons of power in our world can often only be gained by taking power over others. And it sucks to say it. It sucks to say it. That's the world that we're living in. And I'm one of those people that's not like, we must destroy the darkness. We must completely eradicate it, because a lot of people have heard me say this. I believe personally that is not the structure of our world. We come here on Earth to live in a third to fourth density society for the purpose of understanding the differences between light and dark, good and evil, bad and good, love and hate. You know what I mean? And so that's the hard part. I guess that's the bitter truth underneath it all, is that for a lot of these people, justice is never going to come. And I know that's one of the big questions that many people have right now. We're going to move on from Epstein in a second, you guys, but I think that's kind of one of the many misconceptions that's being thrown around within the spiritual communities, is that people are begging for an arrest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arrests.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that comment, when are they going to be arrested? I would like to propose that we update our expectations. If you've ever been arrested, you know, most people get out really, really quick. And if you're running the entire justice system, who's going to arrest you, dude? The Clintons will never go down in this life. You're never going to see it. They're going to live and die their human lives, whether you want to call them clones, whether you want to call them this or that. Certain key figures, the low-hanging fruit, will be sacrificed. This is a real thing. But those behind it will actually never even be known. And anyway, I'm not doing this as like a black pill thing. I'm doing it as like a realistic thing for those of us who are making choices right now about what we align with politically. I think this is the time to really, really look at those choices that we made and the ideas that were thrust upon us over the last few years of everyone talking about, oh, it's the golden age. Now it's all going to change. We're back. You know what I mean? If there's one thing we've discovered over the past few weeks, months, however long it's been, ain't nobody back. They're all in the same place they were, and they're not going anywhere. You know, and I really got to give respect to our Keem, because he was one of the ones that had enough balls to call it out in our community from the very start. From the very start, when everyone said, "Oh, bro, you're just fucking crazy, man. You're just insane. You're just this," and it's like, boom.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Like, you know, they said, oh, I want to get your opinion on this, because this is a really important part of these whole Epstein files. If they're real, right? A lot of stuff, if they're real, if, you know, a lot of stuff came back redacted, right? Now, the people said what the stuff that came back redacted was CP. And I said, okay, well, nobody wants to see that anyway. But like, I was thinking, do you think the stuff that came back redacted was people that they don't want names out, and they just said it was CP to, like, you know, so people wouldn't question what it was?
I think that's a really, really big, that's a huge part of it. I think that a lot of people are still being protected. Clearly, there was a decision made to throw, you know, Bill Gates under the bus. You know what I mean? Clearly, there's a decision right now being made to softly throw the Clintons under the bus. They're fighting it. They might be successful. You know, they're protected on high by the Prince of Darkness. So, you know what I mean? They got a little, you know, they got a lot more they're working with. But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of like losing my train of thought on it all.
I gotta tell you guys this. I can't show this on YouTube, but my friend showed me this the other day. My friend Dan, he came over and he was like, dude, he's like, did you ever see the video of Hillary Clinton? And it's called, I'm just gonna say it. I don't know if I can say it.
Oh, right. I know the word. Yeah. It's
Frazzle. I'll just say yeah. You know that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yes,
and supposedly Hillary Clinton said something like, my favorite night of the year is sacrifice night. Dude, that gave me chills. I was like, this woman is absolutely.
Oh, wait, you've actually seen it?
It's on BitChute. Yeah. It's on.
Oh, really? Oh, dude, you gotta. Sorry, you gotta.
I don't have it. My friend Dan has it. Like my friend Dan, I'll get it off him though.
I was thinking that it wasn't real, because I was like, you know what? Okay, prove it to me. Show it to me. It feels real, but I've always been like, I went through a brief moment of trying to find it. Some people out there will be like, oh my God, Matthew, why would you? Shut up. You know what? For those of us that are comfortable with our shadow, you're going to be able to look at things like that and not have them corrupt your soul. It's part of an understanding of darkness, and it's part of my mission in doing what I do. So for some people, it's not going to be appropriate to look at, but for other people, it will be. And I was one of those people that was like, okay, let me see it. Show it to me.
I'll tell you what, when I saw it, I couldn't look at it. It was too much for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm not saying I want to sit there and like, oh, I want to see if it's real. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it doesn't matter. You know,
it's scary, man. And what it made me think is this woman is really scary. Whoever,
oh yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I'm a little bit afraid talking about it on the live stream, but I don't think it'll ever get back there. You know what I mean? So
I don't really think it matters based on the climate. One thing that I do really love about the Clintons, though, is that I think both of them these are, when we talk about the process of the cloning of like the elites, I mean, I am a full believer that the Clintons have had multiple clones. And you guys will remember the most obvious clone meltdown Hillary had was when they were pulling her into that van on the side of the road and her whole body was like glitching out, and it was like everyone was like, what, you know what I mean? And then there was that whole one where it's like, you guys have to try the iced chai, you know, and she does the thing, and everyone there's like, okay, you know, and she's like, you know, like glitching out in this weird way. Some of you guys out there have seen those videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. For everyone else, you'll be like, what? That's okay. But yeah, it's real. So,
dude, that's scary, man. It's scary what some of these elites are involved in.
We can. Yeah, I hear you. If it's okay, we can softly change the subject. I want to show one more video before we start.
Oh yeah,
reading.
this is good. This brought up a lot of good conversation.
Yeah, thanks. Feel free if there's any comments or any questions that people have while I pull up this other video. Shoot them out there. I just got to grab it here. Okay, almost ready. And so from now, after, or here, I'll say it a little differently. Now, here's something we think you'll really like, if anyone knows where that's from. Let's talk about Antarctica, because this interesting video, a really, really interesting video came out today. I don't know if it's real. Once again, I'm putting this out there for the discernment of everyone watching and everyone else that's going to listen to this or watch it later on. This is a post that came out talking about Antarctica. And so let me just put it on the screen and then we'll bring you through it here. There it is. Sorry, I have like so many windows open. I have that problem where there's like 100 windows open. Okay, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, meanwhile, in Antarctica, online streamer actually makes his way to the frozen continent, starts filming, and is met by a huge team of security. Really? So no one's allowed to Starlink or a mobile phone? It's very strict. We need to confiscate your stuff. Now, ask yourself why. Why is nobody allowed to Antarctica if there's nothing there? Why are people not even allowed to film or possess a filming device? Who's investing in all the security? Why is the only global pact treaty that stood the test of time the Antarctica Treaty, which prohibits anyone who isn't authorized to go in there? Now, those are all good questions. I'm sure Brad Olson and Eric Hecker would love to argue about the answers of them. I'm not really concerned about it. What I'm going to do is show you guys the video. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is this, or ask you, is this really even Antarctica? I'm not saying it is or it isn't, because I'm shocked. I'm as shocked as everyone else is going to be here. I'm going to put it on big screen, and we're going to watch this together. Ready, guys? Here we go.
The IRL on Antarctica, boys. IRL on Antarctica.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna go back. Everybody look at this. Look at this. I thought Antarctica was still covered with snow. I thought it was, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I know. I'm not an expert on it.
The IRL on Antarctica.
Look at the ground.
IRL on Antarctica.
Look at the climate. If it's so cold there, he's not wearing a hat. Look at it. He's only got a couple layers on, it looks like, skin's exposed. So what is, maybe it's summer there? I honestly don't know the seasons. I'm going to let the rest of the video play. Here we go.
Hello. How's it going? Not that good. So you have a Starlink? Yeah. Okay, it's confiscated. You'll receive it on the way back.
You can't use it on the land?
Say again?
Can't use it on the land?
No.
Okay. They checked it in biosecurity yesterday and they didn't have a problem really going on, but you're the captain, so it's all yours.
Okay. You'll receive it in the end of the trip, okay?
Okay, cool.
It's not such devices, they're not anything that is related to the internet connection, cybersecurity is completely forbidden.
Really? So no one's allowed to have a star on it?
Nope, not even a single piece of data.
Really? On land?
That is not secure. No.
Is that for like all of it? I'm just asking.
They're taking all of his shit.
All,
If you
all
can't
of
tell.
Antarctica?
Yeah.
Okay.
For all, it's available for all ships. It's not only this ship, all the ships around, and especially this one. We have cybersecurity. We have policies to follow. Unfortunately, we cannot let you.
Right, bring it on land.
Yeah.
And that's for every ship in Antarctica?
Just for everybody.
Okay.
But our procedures, they are very strict, and such devices, they are not allowed, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. That's fine. Thank you for informing us. I apologize if there was any issue. I just didn't.
He played it off well. You know what I mean?
I was researching and stuff, but
Okay.
you're the captain.
Yeah, he was hiding his phone.
I mean, honestly, that's, in my opinion, he handled it really well. He didn't try to push back. He played nice guy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why. I'm just asking why, which I think is actually wise. But the question that I have for everybody is, and this is the question everybody is asking at some point, what the hell's going on there? Is maybe it's normal, this is where Brad Olson or Eric Hecker come in, definitely, but maybe it's normal for there to be less ice around this time of year. Maybe that's been a thing that's been happening, but I'll just be real. I haven't seen that version of Antarctica. And it makes me wonder if if it's playing a larger role at this stage in some of what we would call just the layers of darkness or elitist control structure that seems to be shifting, or we could even say, trying to remain in power. Is almost something being revealed there on a deeper level right now that other people have been skipping over, while we're all obsessed upon Greenland, which is also a rightful target in the moment. It just kind of makes me wonder. And so, anyway, what do you think, Rob?
I kind of believe it, but I don't know. I'm a little gullible sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Because I agree with you. But I also think it's like, I think he was sneaking his phone there. I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know the temperature of Antarctica, so I don't know about that. I don't know what goes on. So I'm just not sure. I'm kind of unsure about that one.
I hear you. I don't know either. I'm being totally honest with everyone. That's literally why I'm putting it out here, because I'm like, I wonder. I am just like you guys. What does this mean? One thing I can tell you, just because it's fresh in my mind, and then we're going to start doing some readings here, is it's funny because I was doing, or I guess I've started doing more structured remote viewing again, but back in, I think this was 2021, when I was hyper obsessed with remote viewing. One of the things that I was shown upon looking, actually, this was 2019 or 20. Okay, not that the date matters, but several years ago, damn, that was a long time ago. I spent a lot of time viewing Antarctica. I spent a lot of time looking into what might be going on down there. And oddly enough, I was shown certain things that I've seen examples of throughout the world. I've seen kind of delicate references to it, but I haven't really heard too many other people talk about it, other than one person, a man by the name of Anthony, who channels Kalask, formerly known as Canadian Awareness. But what I was shown was awakening around 2019-20 underneath Antarctica, along with a bunch of other things, were a series of inverted pyramids that had been built after what looked like the arrival of the ships, or some sort of a craft, some structure that was underneath, very well planted within that continent. There was a series of reverse pyramids. And when I say reverse pyramid, meaning that it goes down. It's not like this, it goes inward. And what it was a ritual site. There was several of them. I was even shown some in Iraq and in Turkey. However, in these particular ritual sites, they would create somewhat of a spiral walkway down the sides of the pyramid, so you're walking down down to the center of the pyramid. At the apex of the pyramid, where they would have put a capstone, there is actually a spike or some form of an altar with a rod that would stick up. And that became a special sacrificing place for the activation of a certain type of energy that was then called to spread throughout the roots of the earth in a certain way that had not been done for many, many years. It looks like it had something to do with when the U.S. invaded Iraq. I know that's actually referenced in, I think, Epstein files or in Hillary stuff, where they talk about they were looking for the tomb of Gilgamesh. Another thing that was discovered there, and I believe it was used by some of the controlling factions, were the inverted pyramids. Now, what I was shown about these inverted pyramids was that they offered a direct link to what some people would call the underworld, other people would call hell, some people would call another planet. They're essentially a hyper advanced, highly concentrated type of portal that has been existing in our world for, probably millennia. And it's just another one of those structures. There's many of them. There's so many different types of portals and stargates and gateways. But one of the things that I was shown were the inverted pyramid structures. And so I'm just throwing it out there for people's discernment, for other people that choose to, view those things, read into them, or connect with them psychically. I think what you will, well, I shouldn't say, I think what you'll find, I'll tell you what I found, was that they would actually place a body on the spike, and that was the activating thing, and it would spread this energy that then went down through the apex of the pyramid. And anyway, it's a creepy thing. I don't know to what extent it's still going on now, but I think it's worthy of mentioning. So
wow, that's scary. That's interesting though. That's yeah, holy shit, man. Like it's wow. I don't even know I don't
know. Yeah. Honestly, that's kind of how I felt when I received that information. And I remember at the time I went around telling people, hey, I discovered this thing. I found this. And it was just like that. Everyone was like, oh, wow. Damn. That's crazy, bro.
Who do you think is using it though? Like that's what I'm thinking. Like who do you think's like accessing it? Do you think anybody is, or is it ancient? Do you think it is?
Honestly, I think it's just one of many tools given to the Luciferian blood cults that were granted measures of control over the earth plane. I think it's just one of many networks through which power is harvested and distributed. I think it's just, you know what I mean? It just happened to be the page that I was flicking through at that stage of my life, and that was something that was shown to me. But it stands to reason to me, based upon what we're seeing now, it's almost as if they're pulling all the stops, and anything that can be used, any form of activation, whatever it may be, is being put into use on a different level. And maybe I'm wrong. I will always say that. As a person that does this work professionally, I think we are foolhardy and just honestly ridiculous to say, oh, I know it's true because I perceived it in a psychic vision. You know what I mean? It's like famous last words, bro. You know what I mean? So I always say it could very well not be true. You know what I mean? That's honestly a standard that I've held for a lot of the experiences that I've had in my life. I talked about it in the book numerous times, where I'm like, even if this all was just a hallucination, at least in my case, even if it all was just a hallucination, the what I made use of afterward was real. You know what I mean? The way I integrated it into the world was real. And so anyway, I'll shut up on that now. But,
anyway. I mean, I think one thing we can, I guess, to conclude on all this is that things are really heating up and things are getting a lot crazier, and like a lot more is coming out, and like, I don't know, like with all this stuff, it's like, maybe this is the time where this is supposed to happen. Like this is like the boiling point or something,
Oh yeah.
Or something like that,
I'm a big believer that nothing in this world happens by mistake. Everything has its appointed moment, its appointed time. None of these disclosures are, mistaken. Even if it comes out to be fake, distorted, altered in some way. Sorry to continue this on so long, but one of my ultimate theories is that one of the tools used by those factions were different forms of what we've called the looking glass or the yellow book, or, essentially, AI-driven technological means of advanced divination. and an ability to calculate probable futures. To be honest with you, and I know this is going to sound so crazy to some people, I kind of feel like that was partially what led to the loss of Charlie Kirk, or the character rather, if you want to go down that road, that was playing Charlie Kirk, if you need to call it that. Because from what I could tell on his timeline, it seemed as though he was going to be granted a run to the presidency. He was going to be even chosen for that role, just like just like JD Vance is now. And inevitably he was going to be given what we call a Kennedy style death later on. And it was something that was already seen. It was already seen to be taking place. And so in some way, what I think some of the most advanced factions are doing is they're going back through timelines and trying to delete loose ends. And I think that's one of the things we're going to discover maybe in the future, distant future, maybe in the near future, is just the timeline editing process that I think takes place on some of the highest levels that, a lot of people talk about it. Things like, the time core and this and that. And, those are all cool and probable. But what I do believe is that, we as humans, even the lowest level of human consciousness, we are born with the abilities to dilate, to restrict, to alter the flow of time as we understand them. It doesn't mean that we can do it in expert ways. It doesn't mean that we can command the flow of it, but it does mean that with enough power is gathered, we can create massive change. And I think, just as the final comment on that, I think that's worthy of looking at for those of you that also do, some form of psychic viewing or energetic analysis. Like, look at the timelines that you see clashing and like colliding, and just notice what you notice. You don't have to come to a conclusion. Just notice what you notice about it. And I feel like you're going to discover something, maybe similar, maybe not, but.
Yeah. One more real quick thing before we get into the readings. And guys, if you want a reading, put your name in the chat now, and you can donate if you want. But what do you think? What do you think about the people are saying that JD Vance is tied to Palantir, or that he's backed by Palantir, and that now somehow there's more conspiracies coming out that him and Erica Kirk are sister and brother?
Oh, I know, right?
The son of like Michael Aquino or something, and son and daughter, or some high-ranking person. It's like or Antoine LaVey, is it? Was it Antoine LaVey?
No, it was definitely Michael Aquino. Yeah, I saw it. That's, I'll be real. I kind of think that's flooding the zone. You know what I mean? Like, dense layers of disinfo to create red herrings and, dead end paths that lead us into wild speculation. But at the same time, I'm like, because damn, when you do put Aquino and Vance together, it's weird. And then, JD Vance isn't even his name. He's had like 3 or 4 different names throughout his life. He only became Vance just prior to entering this current cycle of, whatever it is that he's doing as the vice president. He has a lot of similarities to Obama in that there's a lot of claimed kind of like accomplishment, and yet there's almost very, very little to no real evidence to establish him as a literally real person. And I know some people are going to be like, oh my God, no, what are you talking about, bro? You can go do your own research on that and come to your own conclusions. But I think that he is yet again a manufactured candidate, perfectly placed years in advance for a very specific purpose. And I think that one of the purposes that he has, if the timeline comes to be where he is granted some form of greater power, is going to have to do with instituting the AI mass surveillance state on an entirely new level. And we see that with his alignment with Peter Thiel, who is a deeply fascinating individual. Some people will be triggered when I say this, but I am deeply fascinated by that guy. I think he's a very interesting person. Some will also say very evil in his own right, and I would agree with that. But man, there is so much energy in that guy's face.
I think Peter Thiel, he owns Palantir, and that's he wants to do the mass surveillance, right? What I wanted to tell you, what was interesting, Matthew, I don't know if you saw this. one thing we saw with the release of these Epstein files, remember this guy came out in New York, and me and Indigo Angel talked about him, the new mayor of New York, Zohan Mondani.
Oh yeah.
Well, this picture of him is a little kid on the island with fucking Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Epstein. And I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't even know who this guy was 4 months ago, but he was on the Epstein's island years ago. So almost like they groomed him to be this leader or something. I don't know. Like, what was he doing? Unless that picture wasn't real.
I haven't seen the picture personally, but I have heard about it. And I've also heard that his mom was associated in some way financially or in just some form or another. It was also associated with Epstein in some way. I'm willing to go there. I'm 100% willing to say, yeah, it's entirely possible. I mean, dude, like the Island Boys, they were literally, I mean, they're called the Island Boys, dude. They're straight up Epstein kids. Sorry. You know what I mean? So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's also funny because at the same time, I don't see Zoran Mamdani as being a death blow to New York. I know some people will be like, what? He's communistic, socialistic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, New York's gone already. New York's fucked. It's fallen. It's a goddamn cesspool. The best thing they'll get is maybe a guy that'll give people some free shit and stop making it about these scumbag elitists. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll restructure it in some way because it already sucks, dude. Sorry, all the New Yorkers out there. I also spent time there. Okay, I'm not just speaking out of turn. It sucks. Sorry. However, I will say there's a lot of beauty within that. But you know what I mean? Nowadays, it feels like a hell on earth, but so who knows? I would say yes.
Yeah. It's weird though. I guess it's like they seem like they groom these people for like.
Oh yeah. It's literally crazy. Sorry to go on and on about this, but for those who haven't already heard it and figured it out as well, Melania was literally introduced to Trump through Epstein. You know what I mean? It's like that part has been documented. And so it's like, whoa, really? I mean, and sure, it's still a chance that could all be wild disinfo, but I'm just being real, man. If you're still holding that family up as like the bastion of truth and justice in the American Republic, it's like, damn, please look in the mirror at this point. Please, dude. It's getting really, really weird. So anyway, I'll shut up on that now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Honestly, yeah. Well, I guess we'll transition into readings now. If anybody wants a reading, put your name in the chat, and if anybody wants to donate, you can donate. And and I put links in the chat to how to donate, and they're in the description. But we'll start taking people now. We didn't get anybody to donate yet, but like, so that means whoever requests a reading first will be first. Like, so I didn't see anybody yet. But like,
sometimes the readings flow fast and easy. Other times we wait like a trickle coming out of a broken faucet. It's entirely up to you guys. If no one requests a reading, we can always do one for the collective and just kind of look at the world. Have some questions if you want. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we got Elmira or what? Reading Elmira. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that picture of that cat on the couch or whatever that is. That's cool.
Okay, we will pull a card for you. Let's take a quick collective pause. We're going to clear out all the other business we were just ranting about. So everybody that's watching, you're going to hear me say this about 10 seconds after I do, but we're all going to take a deep breath in on a count of 3. We're going to hold it for a second and we're going to let it out together. In 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Hold it at the top. Just hold it. And drain it out of your body. As we do so, we honor all those of you connected to Amira or Amira in this current world. We're just asking for anything that they need to be made aware of, anything that needs to be seen or heard in the year of 2026, February 7th. And we have, boom, whoa, hello. This is a really cool sign, a card that I don't see much lately, although it's weird because I pulled it for myself the other day, and even that's rare. So, Amira, you have received the 8 of Wands, which is one of the most rapid paths to change, to activity. It's a new trajectory being shown to you. And I'll give you the story that kind of goes along with it. The Eight of Wands, you guys, for those that don't know, it's a little bit like a moment in your life when you're right about to pull a trigger. And you know what happens when you pull a trigger? Whatever shoots out doesn't come back. It's going to go on a trajectory. It's going to go for a ride. It's going to go faster than you even thought. And if you're not careful and you don't aim properly, you could even cause damage with it. Now, there's 8 wands. It's not about the number. It's just meant to indicate a plurality within the opportunity that you have in the energy of the moment. And it's encouraging you, saying, this is the time to make a decision. This is the time to take a chance on something, knowing that if you go for it, you might not be able to go back to the way it was before. The 8 of Wands allows us to create rapid change, but at the same time, it is also a careful what you wish for moment. Because if you don't aim properly, you could maybe hit too low. Maybe you could overshoot the mark. Maybe you could throw everything against the wall just to see what sticks. All of those things work within an 8 of Wands. But for those that are willing to be decisive, those that are willing to take chances, those that are willing to, like I said, pull that trigger, take aim carefully and pull the trigger, you will often benefit from that. Just know the worst thing about 8 of Wands is you can't go back. The wands don't turn around in space and go, okay, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm going to go home. Sorry. That's just the only hard and fast of it. It's like if you initiate that change, it's going to go quicker than you want, than you even imagine. And just be careful because you're going to get it. You know what I mean? And you're going to be like, wow, it's already here. It's already happened. So I guess use it wisely, we could say.
Oh, I love that. I hope that resonates with you, Amira. I'm just going to go down the list until someone donates. If someone donates, you'll get first dibs. This next one is from William Eason. William says, I had asked reading from Matthew about my work situation. Sorry, we didn't see it, William. I saw it now, so we're good.
Oh, really? If there is a specific question, we can try to dig it up. Or if William's really fast on the copy paste game, you could copy paste it in the bottom of the chat again. Here, I'm going to put these sunglasses on so I can see the comments better. There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, we'll give it. I'll give it a few moments here. Maybe he'll chime in, but it's okay if you don't. I'm going to pull a card for you, William, based upon just what does he need to know about work? What does he need to know about career? Is there something changing there? Is there any energy that can be seen? Anything that needs to be ignored?
Speaking of which, Matthew, I know you don't really get into astrological stuff like that much, but like, what do you think about like what is going on with the energies? Do you feel like the energies are kind of off, like with everything? Like, do you get a sense of that or no?
Well, I know that there's something going on with Uranus currently or about to, or maybe even tomorrow. And I know that Uranus has a tendency to make everything really, really weird, really bizarre, sometimes sudden, sometimes shocking. You know what I mean? I think we're coming out of, the Aquarius season, right? I'm the least astrological professional psychic in the world, guys. I just asked my wife, you know what I mean? I'm all about chakras and energy centers and channels and timelines. But I absolutely recognize the tremendous value in it. And I think that it's what we call par for the course at this stage of the year, especially given the fact that we are about to enter a new yearly cycle of the fire horse. And because we're ending the snake stage, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, there's going to be those painful last bits of skin of the old version of you that are going to fall away over the next few days until we hit, the 16th or the 17th. So, I mean, honestly, I would say from a realistic perspective, for some people, it's going to feel really, really raw. And you're going to have, I'll just say it, you might have confrontations, you might have big emotions, you might have all kinds of raw fire energy. You might make choices to stop compromising. You might make choices to embrace your value. You might make choices to stop keeping people comfortable and playing stupid games for the sake of the play along, get along timeline. You're going to step into a new cycle of individuality. You're going to stick yourself out there in a new way. You're going to take a leap of faith. And I think for those that are willing to do so, everything that's going on right now that feels raw or crazy or negative or fucked up, that's going to change. And I think it's going to change for a lot of us over the next few months. I would guess that by maybe we could even say the middle of April or so, every one of us that's currently following the path laid out for us is going to have a much clearer idea of where we're going. I choose to believe that for others, and I choose to believe that for myself. Not saying it won't be granted sooner. That's just the way that I kind of feel at the moment. But anyway, sorry. William Eason's like, come on, bro. Thought you were going to pull a card. Here we go.
Oh, sorry, William. I just, yeah.
Anyway, okay, so what can be known for those of you guiding Mr. Easton on his current work situation? We're just looking for anything that needs to be seen or heard or acknowledged. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, what a glorious non-answer, William. And I'm not saying it's not an answer. It's just the card you've received is an interesting one. It's a Page of Cups. And so I'm going to tell you the story briefly of the Page of Cups, and I'm going to pray that in some way there is an alignment or a similarity within your current situation, as maybe you're looking for work, maybe you're changing work, maybe you're leaving work, maybe you're at the stage where you're like, I'm going to get the hell out of here. It could be any of those things. But when a Page of Cups enters your world, any page for that matter, the first thing you need to know is you're entering a new cycle of something. That's what pages do. They're brand new. They're meant to inform you of like, hey, here's a brand new thing. And like you can probably tell in the image, the pages come in a little bit underdeveloped. They're very realistic, and they're already members of the royal court. So they're not underneath anyone, but they come in different packages, and people might misjudge them, and they might not recognize a Page of Wands and see them in the same way that they would see somebody like a King of Wands or I'm sorry, Page of Cups, in the way they would see a King of Wands. And so the thing that you need to know about Page of Cups is this is the biggest empath in the entire world of tarot. I mean, if there's a feeling in the room, Page of Cups is going to feel it. If there's a vibe floating around, Page of Cups is going to soak it in, and they might even be confused over whether or not it's theirs or mine or somebody else's. And that's because Page of Cups' natural makeup is to absorb energy. And let's say if we're looking for new opportunity, let's say if we're changing work, if we're trying to apply that to third density work matters, the Page of Cups says you may be at a stage where this is real. This is straight out of tarot class. One of the problems for Page of Cups, and you can see it there, she has a very small cup. It's perfect for her size, but it's very small. What does that mean? And you can see a little bird flying out of it if you're sharp enough. What does that mean? Honestly, it sounds kind of dumb, but that means that the Page of Cups can only take so much shit from the world. And there's a certain time or place in which the Page of Cups has to be able to walk away, to step away from something, to turn their back against the mess or like the crazy storm that's colliding around them and renew themselves. Page of Cups works incredibly well with water. They cleanse themselves with water. If you're looking for clues to help you find like a new job, a new career, a new area to invest yourself in, the Page of Cups must create. It's one of the hard and fast of the world of tarot. Notice that because she's got a painter's palette on her belt. Now, it's not saying you have to be a painter. It's not saying anything like that. You could be a writer. You could be a speaker. You could be a musician. You could even be creating something entirely different. The idea is that in order to remain fulfilled, the Page of Cups must create. They must renew themselves. They must know when to say enough is enough and come back in a new form. And so, to me, it's a positive omen, but just be very, very mindful of the emotions that you carry and the emotions that you absorb, because Page of Wands, that's her greatest strength and it's her greatest weakness. She will either drown in her emotions or she'll be guided by them in this crystal clear manner that other people are like, damn, how'd you know that? What? And you're like, I don't know. I just felt it. I don't know. I just felt like it, So anyway, it's a good character to have. I will leave it there.
Okay. Oh, it's here. Okay.
It's all good. I can tell your messaging.
Next. I was just. Oh yeah, sorry. I was Arizona Ravens next. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Raven.
Oh wait, Jason, I saw. Yeah, Jason, I saw you donated for Selena. Yeah, we'll get Selena next.
Yeah,
Sorry
we
about
can do.
that. Yeah,
We can do them next. In the meantime, greetings, Arizona Raven. We're gonna pull a card for you. And so let me just clear out the last one. I'm an advocate of heavy shuffling, you guys. Everyone knows this. Well, some people know this if you've heard me in here rambling endlessly. I'm an advocate of heavy shuffling to randomize our energy. Okay, here we go. For those of you guiding Arizona Raven, at this current stage of the human journey, we're just asking for anything that needs to be seen or heard right now, and just the interest of truth, of expansion, healing, whatever's needed for her at this time. In 3, 2, 1. Boom. Greetings, Arizona Raven. You've received the Queen of Cups. We were just talking about the Page of Cups and how that's a new thing, and it's very, young, and it needs to watch its emotions and renew itself, and that's all great. And that's very good. And then we got Queen of Cups, and Queen of Cups is like, I know, because she does. That's one of the hallmarks of the Queen of Cups, and it's maybe a thing that you're going to need to accept about yourself if you haven't already. And I say this respectfully, the Queen of Cups knows shit. She knows more than other people. She can be a silent observer or an active participant, and she's going to absorb more information and more knowledge. She's going to look at everyone. She's going to notice their mannerisms. She's going to know when they do this and when they do that. She's going to be sitting there in the corner just going, watching you, watching everything. And it's a beautiful thing because they're incredibly intuitive. They're the most grounded member of the Cups hierarchy. When you can tell she's on dry land, everyone in the Cups gang is floating in water, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. For her, this means that she holds a practicality that keeps her woo-woo-ness together. It allows her to have a grounded element while also being deeply rooted within the element of water, which is emotion and intuition and all those sorts of things. And so the thing that you need to know about her is that, yes, you've been right about many things. You should tell people a lot more because you know what you know. And sadly, other people all don't necessarily. And it doesn't make anyone better or worse. It's just that's Queen of Cups. She's going to have more information because she observes more. The problem is she might not know what to do with it, which is when we look at her cup. Because look, she's got this amazing cup here and it's covered up. And we're like, wait, why is her cup covered? Hold on. Why is her cup covered? And that's because the Queen of Cups has a tendency to hold things back. She might not say all of what she truly feels. She might not reveal her realist self. She'll keep it hidden behind locked doors or show it to certain people. Or sometimes she won't even look at it herself. And it could be for good reasons. It could be for bad reasons. But the primary mission of the Queen of Cups is to know what is in her cup, because whatever is in her cup will influence her forevermore in this world. And so her task is to know what is in her cup, to no longer hide it from the world, and to share it freely. And if you do so, she's often a therapist, she's a healer, she's a guide, she's a mystic, but she's way more grounded. So don't take her as one of those like, oh, let's connect with, the Galactic Federation. Queen of Cups, I'm going to be real with you guys, and someone might not like this. Queen of Cups won't give a shit about that. Queen of Cups is more here, now, Earth. What do we feel? What do we know? What have I observed? She's not going to be stuck out in space. You know what I mean? Other people will, but she's not. And so, which to me is a good thing. So there you go. Boom.
I love that. That was a great reading, man. The next one was a donation from Jason for Selena. So Jason wanted to get Selena a reading. So I don't know if she has or you just kind of want to go in or whatever.
Oh, yeah, totally. We'll pull a card for you. I also want to say, Selena, Honora showed me the cards that you pulled for me today, and I was like, because it was totally relevant. It was relevant for both of us. So I'm just going to say this. Sorry to put you on blast here, but like, you should do more readings. You should do more work. You should do more shows. You're incredibly talented, and I pray that you put that to use more. Because I was like, damn, what the? It's like, wow, you just kind of Somehow you just summed up a lot of things that were happening for me with just 3 little cards. It was a very interesting thing. Anyway, that
Yeah, and
said,
she
here
has
we
a
go.
spot. Like, I'll just say, so Selena, you have a spot anytime you want to come on this show, because
You should do it.
Yeah, she was on once. She came on. I think I can't remember who she came on with, but she did do it once. But like, she should come on again. But I know she's got a new job and everything. Yeah, like
I know how it is. We got jobs and kids and lives, but if the time comes, I pray that you will flex that, because you know what I mean. Honestly, I like you guys. I'm just going to be lame for a second. The older I get, the more I understand the need to see and acknowledge others that do this work. Because if there's one thing we've learned about the hierarchy of the current, disclosure, starseed, SSP friend groups, is the only thing everyone wants to be is the number one at everything. And I know you guys see this every day. Everyone wants to be the most traumatized person in space. Everyone wants to be the biggest secret agent. Everyone wants to be on the biggest ship or fall through the greatest wormhole into another dimension. Very few people are devoted to staying on Earth and making this life work out. And I've just noticed, you're better at staying within that realm, and so I hope that you will. And I think that honestly, the best thing I can do is help other people that are like that, because it's like at this stage, if there's one thing we've seen, is that there's an entire weird social power hierarchy that has absolutely no interest in opening themselves to the lower echelons of the social group. They're just like, nope, I know what I know. You know what I mean? And it's like, those aren't the people that are doing the real work. It's not them. It's the ones in the trenches, the ones that do this every day. I'm going to say it, sorry to put you on spot, Rob, but people like Rob that show up literally every day, whether they feel like shit or they're overjoyed to be there, or they don't even know what the hell to say. Those are the people doing the work. Don't mistake those for these douchebags on the stage. You know what I mean? And I'm being real. Sorry if I'm pissing anybody off. It's like, we're too old to play games like that anymore. I'm not saying there's not a time or place for it, but there's so many incredibly talented people within our overall community. And I think one of the things that makes your show great, Rob, is that you'll give them a chance, because I can tell you a whole list of other podcasters out there who don't give a shit. They truly do not. And that's no exaggeration. So,
yeah,
anyway.
I may not believe everybody, but I give everybody a chance. Like I don't tell anybody I don't believe them or anything, but I definitely do not believe everybody, and I'm skeptical of a lot. I'm like you, I know you're skeptical and stuff, and I am too, but I just let people talk. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what we need right now, I guess.
I think that's what makes you work. Honestly, man, that's what makes you real. That's why you keep going. That's why there's never going to be a time in which Typical Skeptic Podcast is fully taken down, because there's a type of protection and honor that is granted for people that continue to walk that line. And sometimes it takes a really long time for it to pay off. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, we got to put it in. But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting. Here we go, Selena. 3. For those of you guiding Selena in this current moment, we're just going to pull one card here. Anything that needs to be seen or heard at this stage of her journey. 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Hello. We're getting a lot of, I guess, not so normally seen cards lately, because I'm trying to think, like, when was the last time the sun showed up in our readings on this show or any others? Anyway, Selena, you've got the sun. This is a really good time to look at the past few years of desires and goals and objectives that you've had, especially the ones that didn't work, the things that you thought you wanted to do or you were hoping to be able to make happen, the seeds that you planted a few years back and you were like, I swear to God, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it work. And then it didn't really work. And you were like, well, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it just wasn't going to happen. And maybe it's never going to be for me. And then the sun comes in to say, hey, you know those seeds you planted back in, I don't know, a couple of years ago? It doesn't matter how long ago, maybe even in 2019, the ones that didn't sprout, well, get out there. Look, they're growing now. Now they're showing up. And so the sun brings to mind the goals, the desires, the objectives of the past. It tells you that you have a chance with vulnerability, with delicateness, with careful nurturing to enter a stage of incredible opportunity, of new growth. It's one of the most well, I wouldn't say universally positive. It's very positive. It's a really good energy to have. It's very new, and it needs to be treated kind of like the child that you see here in the image. It can't go hard and fast. It has to be very delicate. It has to be soft. It has to favor stillness and quiet and beauty and, yes, sunlight. And the big warning of it is, please don't overdo anything. Anything overdone with the sun could kill it. It can. That's the problem with it. The sun will either give you life or it'll take it, right? You know what I mean? If you leave something in your car all day and you get in and, it's like, summertime and the seatbelt touches you and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Or like you leave your phone or something in the car and you're like, damn, it's red hot now. The sun will do that. It'll burn up things. If you leave things undone, it'll burn it up in your face. You know what I mean? If you try too hard, you'll watch something wither right in front of you and you'll go, oh God, and I killed it. Because that's the problem. Problem with the sun is it'll either make it for you in a way that you've been waiting for years, or it could cause it to wither away. But it'll be based upon how you interact with it. Because the sun is saying, if you're willing to bring gentleness, vulnerability, delicateness, care, treat yourself as a child, once again, a child that needs to be nurtured and loved. And if you can do that, to me, it's really, really good sign. But anyway, I feel like I'm like spiraling on your sun card. So I would say
that was great.
It's a good thing. So.
That was great. That was really good, man. Like you're really good with it. Like you're like one of the best. That's why I say you're one of the best, honestly, dude. I really truly believe that. Like you're able to, yeah. It's amazing what you're able to do for real. Like,
Thanks. The only thing I can say about that is thank you to the groups of spirits, the doctors, the beings that stand alongside me in these sessions. It's really not me. I know that sounds dumb, but we've been doing a read through on our channel of the book I wrote last year before last. And I think one of the real big conclusions I made at that stage of my life, and I've been talking about it, was that I was never taught how to do this. You know what I mean? There was no Starseed Academy for me to go to. There was no, psychic school where I could get a 4-year degree. Those things don't exist. And if you think you need someone to certify you and tell you you're good enough to do it, you're mistaken, because I was one of those people, for better or worse, where it just started. No one taught me anything. And so it's comforting for me to hear that it works, because it's been like the greatest leap of faith in my entire life. Now it's not so much. I mean, that was 9 years ago, and it was at that time, it was the greatest leap of faith in my entire life. But I think looking back, it was at least one time when I did it right.
Yeah.
So.
It's like interesting too. Now you have people that are like learning from you, that is like from your lineage. Like it's like also like in martial arts, like when we do like jujitsu, like there's like the lineage is from the Gracie family all the way down like the tree to like people like who get their black belts. But like with you, it's like you have like your tarot, but then like you have people like Joanna LeBlanc, Aurora Diamond Heart, and now Breakaway Ray, who learned from you. And
Ray's awesome, dude. I love Ray.
You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, dude. Like to see that, like Breakaway Ray's really taken off. Like
honestly, that's a beautiful thing to see, man. That's how it is for people. It's like sometimes when a frequency hits you, and it's like, oh, this. Oh, okay, I could do this. And it's like people that will do that, and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go for it. In many cases, with that type of open-mindedness and like willingness to say, like, I'm gonna actually try this, it's like you will shock yourself, man. I am a believer that anyone in this world can learn tarot, just like anyone can learn to play the guitar. Some people will play a couple chords and be happy with that, and other people will turn it into a lifestyle, and they'll, they might tour the world with it. I just, for some reason, that was one of the things that hit me. I don't know, but anyway. Yeah. Who else do we have?
It's amazing to see, though. It really is. Like, yeah. Like the next one is Kiki Erica. Thanks for donating, Erica. And she says, could I get a general reading as well? I think I have the right person. Yeah.
Kiki, yes. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to do a little bit of shuffling here. What if I became one of those people where I spend like 7 minutes like shuffling and going, okay, ready? Okay, here we go. Some people do that, which I think is funny and cute. I'm not making fun of it. I like when I see that. It's cool. Anyway, here we go for Kiki Erica. In 3, 2, here it comes. 1. Boom. Hello. It is the Knight of Pentacles. Oh, my Lord. Well. Get ready for a little bit of a story, Kiki Erica. My prayer is this will apply to your current world. First thing you need to know about the Knight of Pentacles is this guy is protected. I mean, look at him, man. He's armored. Everything's covered. His entire body, except for one place. His face. What does that mean? Symbolically, that indicates that while he's the most protected person in the entire world of tarot, I mean, look, even his horses got armor. You know what I mean? There's things that could happen, not necessarily will. That'd be more of a King of Swords thing. There's things that could happen to the Knight of Pentacles that it would kill other people, but Knight of Pentacles, it'll go bing. Whoa. Damn, wow, interesting. It just bounced right off me. Okay, but when it comes to their emotions, when it comes to the feelings that they have and how they hold on to them or release them, well, that's a different story. They are vulnerable in that place. But this is an incredibly powerful, incredibly strong energy. And one of the things that you can take from it is that you inherited something when you came into this world. And some people worked lifetimes for it. Some people go to college for their whole life here. Some people try to emulate it for their entire journey, and they can't. The Knight of Pentacles, he can kind of just take it and go, okay, I'm going to do that now. And there's no class and no school and no learning program that's going to set him up for it because he already knows. And that's a beautiful thing because the Knight of Pentacles is often one of those individuals that will watch everybody in the world doing the thing that they should be doing, hoping and praying, thinking maybe one day I'll get to join. Maybe one day I'll get to do it too. Maybe they'll choose me. Maybe they'll ask me to be like them. And well, the Knight of Pentacles just stands there waiting for opportunity. And that's the problem. It doesn't come. Because the Knight of Pentacles is meant to self-start. They're meant to kick it off in their own way. They can just run down there to the bottom of the hill and do whatever the thing is that they want to do. They can do it now. And when you stare at him long enough, you notice that he's not going anywhere in the energy of the moment because this is a strong energy. It's a protected energy. It is incredibly versatile. It can do things that other people can't. But unless it accepts it, unless it makes use of what it's inherited, unless it actually puts it to practice, they tend to lie in wait. They tend to sit there and observe things when they could be a part of it. So the thing that you can take from the Knight of Pentacles is that you're as good as many other people at certain things in this world that you were never educated or taught to do. And you have to face that about yourself. Knowledge comes to you through different channels than it does for other people when you're the Knight of Pentacles. But they might just sit there with it. The biggest problem for Knight of Pentacles, and I'm not defining you as this, I'm just giving you data points here to apply to your world if they fit. The biggest issue for Knight of Pentacles is that they're resistant. And people will say, you should do this. You could totally do it. You should go for it. And Knight of Pentacles will just be like, they'll just sit there. And it's like, okay, I mean, you could. And that's kind of their problem. So you have authorization to do things that you might not feel qualified to do. For real. But you are. So I'm going to stop there before I make it too complicated.
I'll get to the next person. How about the Andromeda? It wouldn't be a show without the Andromeda. You know what I mean?
What's going on? Are you being punished for saying you wanted to? What was it? You were against Jesus or something? I saw that on the last show. He was like, "I'm going to punish Jesus," and then somebody was like, "You are going to be punished," or something like that. I just caught that right at the end. I was like,
the Andromeda is hilarious, man.
Conversation, where you're like, that's totally out of context, but it's hilarious. you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
The Andromedan's hilarious, you know. I think he could have a good like YouTube channel. I keep telling him that, you know.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should. You never know. Let's see what needs to be seen or heard. For the character known, for the artist formerly known as Andromedan, or I'm sorry, currently known. Anyway, getting serious. For those of you guys Andromedan at this current stage of the human journey, we're just looking for a symbol of growth, information, anything that needs to be acknowledged. And 3, 2, whoa, there it goes. 1, boom. Andromedan, you got a cool guy here. This is a 6 of Pentacles. Man, I hope this applies to your world. I'm just going to be real. 6 of Pentacles is an interesting energy. And, you know, maybe this will be nonsensical to you. I'm not sure, because I know you got a lot of questions that don't always fit within the scope of certain cards, you know, like it branches into other areas of the universe. But that said, the story of the 6 of Pentacles is this. This is the energy of exchange, of value, of, we could say, business, of just rewards, investments. It's a time in one's life where, let's say if you were one of those regular workaday third density people and you're out there saying, I am wondering, is this the right time for me to start a business or a project, or to invest myself? Maybe not monetarily, more energetically, maybe monetarily too, but let's just say, is this a good time for me to be doing those things? 6 of Pentacles is incredibly benevolent for people who are willing to begin that type of a process. If you have something that you're willing to exchange with the world, there's a very good chance that the world is ready to take use of it. But you do have to put it into practice, and you do have to put your hand out. You can kind of see it there. I know this is a complex image and it might be blurry to some of you guys, but what we're looking at is what we call a very rich man. How do we know he's rich in the world of tarot? Well, he's got many elaborate colors and he's wearing gold all over his body. And he's got a scale in one hand. So he is receiving the just rewards, or maybe at times the just consequences of certain things. And it's all about investment, where he puts his energy, where he puts his money, where he puts his focus. The things you got to look out for is wasting things, squandering things. You know what I mean? Because 6 of Pentacles could be a time in your life in which you could rapidly gain a lot of something. Like I said, for people who start businesses in like regular day-to-day life, you pull this card and you start a business and you're going to be like, wow, I'm making money fast. It'll come faster than you think, kind of like 8 of Wands. But the problem with it is that if you're not careful, as fast as it comes, it'll go even faster than that. And you could squander everything you've built unless you are very careful about where you invest your time, energy, and your money. Because this could be a big payday, or it could be a time when everyone comes around to finally get everything back from you. You know what I mean? Where they're like, bitch, better have my money. You know, those moments in life, not to say you only want money. I'm just giving you a random example. You know, when they come calling, they're like, what's up, dude? It's time you're going to have to give me something. You know, that could happen with 6 of Pentacles. And what'll happen is you'll go, oh, okay. And then they'll say, and I want that. And you'll go, okay. And they'll say, and I want that. And that's the downside of 6 of Pentacles. You could lose it quickly or you could gain it quickly. So anyway, that might be random to your world, or it might have relevance, but I hope it helps.
Dude, you know what? I don't know why this came up. It came up because I was checking my Rumble, you know, and I saw the video I put out the other day with Renetta and James when we were supposed to do that tour in Texas. Are you near those Texas mountains? Could you go look at those? I wonder where those are. I think it's West Texas.
Texas,
the ones that Renetta was seeing locations in and stuff.
Do you know
what I'm talking about?
Do you know what area it's in?
I don't know Texas at all, because I'm, you know what I mean? I'm like,
honestly,
East Coast, but I mean, like,
technically we could go there. It's just the weird thing about Texas is it's so huge. I mean, I'm saying this as a person that just moved here, so I'm still like, damn, it's so huge. Yeah, I mean, it takes like a whole day to like, or more, to cross the entire state of Texas. It's a trip. So depending on where it is, it could be pretty close. I mean, we're in like hill country in Austin, where there is actually honestly, there's a lot of tunnels here. I just spotted one today that I really, really want to go in. I got to find somebody to go in there with me because I don't know if Honora will go. But dude, there's so many underground structures. Oh my God, you can
I
see
should
like
come down
opening.
for a vacation, man. I'll come down for a vacation. We should go explore
Come
some
down
shit.
here, dude. There's a literal tunnel right near my house that I believe, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. I don't care. That I believe is connected to the 3M building, which is right near where I live, the old 3M building. It's a massive corporation that works in all kinds of bizarre research and products and so many things in this world. One of their company headquarters is near our house, and it's abandoned now. They left it. And within that structure, I'm positive because I've seen the openings to the tunnels. I went and literally looked at the opening to the tunnel today. I didn't go down to it because there's like an embankment and a fence. So I didn't go right up to the actual tunnel itself, but I could see it. And my belief is that there's a tunnel system that exists under a certain part. Well, I know there is because there's videos that show them. Under a bunch of parts of Austin. There are all throughout Texas. There's even a maglev train that connects, I think, San Antonio to the Dallas and Houston Metroplex area. I think there's probably I would imagine there's an offshoot that goes through the capital of Austin. I mean, of course there would be, right? But it's very fascinating for that. And it seems as though the energy of the area is that people don't really care about them. Everyone here is really consumed with politics and, like all that stuff. They're not really paying attention to those things. So anyway, I don't mean to go on and on, but there's a lot of shit.
Yeah, I feel like they do that on purpose. They get people so people don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. But you're paying attention. That's what's awesome.
Oh, man. Like, to add on to it, to make this even weirder, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I would put my hand on the Bible and tell you that this is true because I witnessed it with my own eyes and I could not make sense of it. I do this thing where I go on these like ridiculously long walks, you know what I mean? Just walking around the area where I live. And there's this factory there that is connected to a place that I will not name, a corporation that I will not name. And I've noticed when I walk over there was this one day where a school bus pulled up to a factory and they were offloading children into a factory that is nowhere near a school. Well, I shouldn't say it's nowhere near a school. It's just, it didn't make sense. It was one of those things where I'm like, wait. What's this school bus doing at this random factory in almost the middle of nowhere on this weird side street? You know what I mean? What are they? Are they dropping off kids from the factory? Are they picking up children from the factory? Because I don't know if you know about this. I know you know Lauren Pritchard. She did a lot of work into uncovering what I believe. I think she was real in uncovering certain pieces of a trafficking network that was a really, really big force in Austin. I don't know if it is now. I'm not really on top of that whole thing, but it was just one of those moments when you see it and you're like, wait, why are they there? And it was honestly one of those things where I literally walked home and I told Honora and I was like, I'm sure it was just, maybe they were just, maybe it was a field trip, and she's like, wait, no, why would they be dropping off children at a factory as it's getting dark at night, pulling up to the gates? You know what I mean? Maybe there's
that's creepy, man. That's fucking creepy. That's scary. Like, but no, is that really true that Lauren really took down a human she started?
Honestly, I don't know if she took anything down because I wasn't really following it that much at the time. So I'm not gonna like make some big claim or anything. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that I do recall there was a long period of time where she was talking a lot about like just what she was finding there. And I know some people are like, I don't believe her. I don't. Honestly, at this point, I've known this person within this community longer than I've known most of the people that I've seen face to face. You know what I mean? I was talking with her and connecting with her back in literally 2018. You know what I mean? Before I knew who any of those people were. And so I think I give her a little bit of a pass within her process of like research. Even if she gets it wrong, I'm like, bro, at least you lived it. You know what I mean? Most of these people are sitting behind like phones going, you know, it's like they're not doing shit. You know what I mean? At least she went out there and actually looked it up, you know? So
yeah. I like Lauren Pritchard. I know some people give her shit because she can be, you know, she can be a little aggressive sometimes, but I think she's a good person, you know. I think she has good value. I don't know. Like, you know, like I don't.
Those are the people you know are real because they're unafraid of being their actual self. We've been taught within this like community, within this play along to get along thing, that a spiritual person, a disclosure person, a starseed, whatever stupid label you want to add to it. Let's use the worst one of all, a light worker. All right. If you're a light worker, quote unquote, there's this unwritten, ridiculously contrived code of bullshit starseed ethics that you're meant to follow. And one of those is like love and light only. When the reality is, like in this world, for those that exercise keen judgment and sharp discernment, that's going to go out the window real quick when you understand that your judgment is needed in this earth plane to understand truth. And it's like a lot of people who do that fearlessly, a lot of people who do that without care for what it looks like to the world, we get labeled. I just went through a huge controversy all day on Facebook, which I won't get into here. Don't worry, everyone, of having similar experiences with people where you get mislabeled, you get, you know, maligned, you get made out to be an evil person purely because you were keeping it real. And it happens to so many people out there. So, you know, when I see the real ones, I'm like, good for you. Stay real, be crazy. You know what I mean? I would rather watch that than, you know, 25 shows of, you know, starseeds channeling, you know, the fucking Galactic Federation at this point. You know what I mean? It's so tired. It's so old, dude. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. There's a lot of good things in there too, but it's just, you know I'm not the only one. So
I agree with you, man. I honestly do. Yeah. Did you say maybe we should? Do you think we should maybe do maybe one or two more reading, maybe two more, and then we'll call it a night? Because it's like, okay, next? So we'll do Shiba Inu and then Electric Ganja. So we'll do Shiba Inu first, and
okay, here we go. Let's clear out all the kind of raw, jagged energy of those previous comments. Healthy compartmentalization is often appropriate. So we'll just kind of put that away in a little bit of a drawer for the time being. There we go. And for those of you guiding Shiba Inu, anything that needs to be seen or witnessed or known at this time, in 3, 2, 1, boom. Whoa. Hey, all right. This is a fun one. Shiba Inu, check it out. You got the Two of Cups. And so this is a really popular image in the world of tarot. When we see this image, most anyone is going to get an idea about it, right? They're going to look at these two people there, and you're going to get your own idea. You're going to look at it and you're going to filter it through your own experience. And you're often going to say, is that me and somebody else? Is that two people that I know? In most cases, it's you. And maybe this is a situation you've been in. Maybe this is a situation that's approaching. Maybe it's a situation you're avoiding. What situation is it? It is a meeting of two minds, a connection of two souls, a moment of union, a moment of agreement, a moment in which you agree to come together with another person for the purpose of seeing eye to eye, for the purpose of sharing, for the purpose of connection. In some cases, it can be very intimate. In some cases, it can be merely platonic and just a moment in which we have a deep agreement and come together in unity with a certain person over something that we create in this world. It could be that. It could also be courtship. It could be, for some people, it's the beginning of a relationship. For other people, they see this and they're like, whoa, yeah, no, I'm not. That's not a thing I want. And the reason why I say that is because the Two of Cups and the Lovers are two cards in the world of tarot that the meaning that you get from it when you see it in your mind is much more important than the meaning that's given to you. So I always say, here's the story behind it. It's union, it's connection, it's new, it's new creations that are initiated alongside others. It's like the spark of cohesion and, co-creation. But it can also be a lot of other things. And I think that's why your idea about what this means for you is the most important. I'll just tell you this much. To me, it's a beautiful thing to have. And if you're willing to really, really, really look people in the eye right now, when you're connecting with them, be sure to meet them in the eye. You're going to discover something. You'll notice things that you didn't notice before. Might not be exactly what you want to see, but in many cases, you're going to come to a new agreement with people that you're alongside. And so anyway, I'll stop there. So
I hope that resonates with you, Sheba. Yeah, and we'll do one more. I guess, this one's electric ganja 420. And what does that mean on his Z707? It says, "My name is Alexander from the Humboldt." He said,
I only know 6-7. What? Sorry. Actually, I don't even know. Okay, for real, ladies and gentlemen, what the hell is 6-7? What is that about? Sorry to be so Generation X here, ladies and gentlemen, but
wasn't there was a star 67 on our phones, and then it was star 67, right? Where we I don't know, right? Like
right.
that was,
and then there's some song. There's like this song that's like literally sounds like like some infant babbling. Is like 6-7. You know what I mean? I did hear that, and I was like, "Whoa, that really sucks." Is that what sparked this? And then I saw this other thing where like it has some sort of like demonic connection. I don't necessarily feel that. I think it's just a social trend in the heat of the moment. But I'm like, damn, where did we get that one? You know what I mean? Oh, Shiba Weenu says it's Skrilla. Skrilla made. I knew it was like one of those guys, right? And he's a Satanist. He probably is. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the requirement for the club. Oh, yeah. That said, before we do our reading for Electric Ganja, don't worry, I'm not going to forget you. As we know, tomorrow is the Superb Owl. For those of you that are not aware, it's probably the biggest, I won't say all the keywords. It's just one of the biggest occult holidays of the entire world. And so it'll be a fun experience for those of you guys that watch a little bit of, I guess, like the halftime shows or whatever. I usually watch bits of it later, but I'm honestly looking forward to seeing the types of like bizarre, they have to tell you, quote unquote, disclosures that they're going to bring out. Because they're going to be heavily, I would say this one more than many other Super Bowls is going to be so heavily laden with symbolism that is meant to indicate future machinations of the groups that still believe they're in charge of the world. We're going to see all the little signs of it. So I look forward to checking it out. But anyway, here we go. Electric.
Dude, we'll have to touch base on that next time we do a show. I'll watch tomorrow for sure. I'm gonna be watching the Super Bowl anyway, because I'm not, but like it's gonna be, it should be. Gerald Clark used to say, like, when they have those Super Bowls, like they're usually doing a ritual underneath.
Oh yeah, that's literally it. Like the week between the Grammys and the Super Bowl is one of the most alive times of the year for dark rituals, sacrifices. The retribution of those that have been, called into those groups. They have to pay something back. They have to show up. They have to pay allegiance. You know what I mean? There's a really cool video out there with the guy from 60 Minutes talking to Bob Dylan. I think it was years ago. It might have been, I'm not sure how long ago it was, but he explains it straight up. He's like, I sold my soul to the man in charge, and that stupid drawl that he has, like, you gotta pay him back, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, he's telling you straight up. It's exactly what it is. This is the time of year. You gotta pay up. And then we enter the season of sacrifice coming up in March, right? Season of sacrifice begins in March. That's a whole other concept. But anyway, Electric Ganja. Here we go. Thank you for hanging out. For those of you guiding Alex at this stage of the journey, we're just looking for anything that needs to be seen and heard here in the energy of the moment. I'm going to shuffle one more time. Sorry. Just so we can really, really Randomize your energy. Here we go. For Alex, 3, 2, 1, boom. Whoa, it's a hermit. Damn, this is kind of cool. It's also at times a bit lonesome, and well, let's be real. The hermit comes at a time in which one is, in some way, shape, or form, whether internally or externally, you're going to be on a little bit of a solo journey in some ways, a journey that only you can take, a journey within the self. One of the best ways to understand this is through that old saying, the thing you want the most is in the cave you least want to look. You know what I mean? Or like the object you seek is within the cave you fear. When the hermit enters your life, you're being asked or given an opportunity to go deeply within yourself for a purpose of discovery, for a purpose of healing, for a purpose of understanding who and what you are, understanding your truest nature, and then coming back out to the surface and meeting the light of day and hopefully sharing that with the world. The problems with the hermit is that they tend to become a bit eccentric. They might be a bit isolationist. They might not know when to ask for help at certain times or accept help at certain times. And that's okay, because they're meant to do many things by themselves. For a lot of people, this is a solo journey, but it comes with a lot of change, a lot of transformation. Some might look at this guy and think he's a bit of a wizard. Yeah, it is. They're going to have an ability to transmute darkness, to transmute objects, to alchemize certain forms of energy, but it comes from within you, not without you. And it comes through deep shadow work. Meaning, if you're going through a difficult time in your life and the hermit comes in, they're telling you to sit with your darkness, to behold it, to understand it, to embrace it, and to heal it through exposure, not through denial. You can think of this like, this is a fun one. For most everyone's seen the original Star Wars trilogy. Some people haven't, but I think I'm not sure if it's the first Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back. There's the scene where Luke Skywalker goes to meet Yoda in the Dagobah system. You guys will know that scene. And when he's out in Dagobah, like the TIE fighter sinks and he goes through all this trouble and all these difficulties there. And then there's that scene where Luke has to go into this cave. And in the cave, he discovers Darth Vader and he has to fight Darth Vader in there. And then when he kills Darth Vader in the cave, the mask falls off and he sees himself within it. That is the perfect explanation of the energy of the hermit. You're being called within for a journey of discovery, sometimes confrontation, sometimes understanding, sometimes clarification, sometimes healing. But it's a thing that only you can do. Only you can do it. And that's why it's like it's a bitch for some people, because if it's a stage of your life, you're going to be incredibly aware of the things you don't have or the places in which you've been left alone. You're going to feel the absence of many things. And that's the space that you need to go into. That's the space that you dive into with the hermit, because you'll come out in a different form. You know what I mean? You'll come out in an entirely new form with new knowledge, understanding new things. You know what I mean? And for most people, it's a good thing. But it's scary, it's difficult, it's dark at times, you know what I mean? You have to, I always make jokes about this kind of thing, but some would even say that the hermit energy is kind of like facing yourself in an alternate dimension. You have to fight another version of yourself. You have to come to terms with something and decide which pieces of you are going to emerge from that cave victorious. It's a pretty wild energy. I think I'm making it sort of intense, but anyway, I hope it helps. It's a transformational season for you, sir.
Thanks. Wow. All right. Well, I thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. This was awesome, man. Like, I had fun. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you? Right. Anything you want to promote?
Yes, totally. So you guys can find me over at rememberyourmission.com. This is the only work that I do in this world. Alongside my wife, Honora, you can book a private reading. You can book an energy clearing session. In the coming weeks, I have a little bit of announcement. Might not matter for this show, but I am officially announcing and moving into medical intuitive work now. It's official and it's coming, and we've already been doing it for a long time. So that is now becoming an official offering. It's not on the website yet, but we're branching into medical psychic work, which is fun. It's just been a thing that I've been doing accidentally for a long time, and it's the more it shows up, the more we do it, the more it works, and it's a crazy thing to behold. And so we have that coming up. We're going to be doing some classes. For those of you guys that are looking for what we call the cringe, get ready for some cringe terms. If you're at a stage of your journey where you're looking to seek guidance or mentorship, or even the dreaded word coaching, with the express intent, purpose of advancing your intuitive awareness, your own psychic skills, into transforming yourself into a new stage of intuitive awareness, I'm going to be starting a new program probably in the coming 90 days. We're going to put it up on the website, and we're going to do kind of this year's intuitive learning group is going to be much more of kind of like a coaching program. We're going to be connecting a bit more. And we're going to just kind of be doing things in a little bit of a different way. It's been something that I've been putting together for a while, and I just like, I guess it's happening. So that's coming up. And then lastly, or maybe not lastly, next Saturday, I think is it the 14th? I think it is. Next Saturday is the 14th, Valentine's Day. In our Patreon group, the Blue Flame Collective, we're going to be doing readings, which we do every month. And so it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. It does cost $10. You can find us on Patreon at Blue Flame Collective. You can also enter Remember Your Mission on Patreon, and it'll take you to our group. But the fun thing about that is everybody that shows up gets a reading. If you come to that meeting, you will receive a reading. You might have to stay and hang out for about 3 hours, but you will get a reading. And so it's a cool way for people to get exposed to real, legitimate, intuitive psychic work, free from shitty motives and negative ego posturing, at least as close as we can take it. I mean, we've been doing this for 5 years and it keeps going. So you can join us there. And then lastly, if you want to witness the last breaths of my dying YouTube channel, you can subscribe to me at YouTube, Remember Your Mission. Just enter Remember Your Mission on YouTube and you'll go to our channel. Somehow we're still going. I don't know how we're going, but we're still going. So yeah, those are all the places you can find me. Thanks for having me again, Rob. Thanks for everybody hanging out in the chat. I never know how many people are actually here. So thank you if you hung out this entire time. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and thanks, guys, everyone. I'll be, by the way, guys, tomorrow I'll be on Chris Matthews' Forbidden Knowledge News. I don't know what time it is. It's sometime in the afternoon. Just look for I don't know if he's going to do it live, but it's a Mall World panel. I'm going to be part of a panel on Mall World. So
maybe I should watch it. Okay, I will watch it.
I don't even know what I'm going to talk about yet. I gotta dig up some shit on Mall World. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like man.
Real shit. I'm going to maybe listen to people's experiences and stuff. And
Honestly,
then I think
really
I might have
cool.
a show on my own at night. That's it. Like, that's all I want to, that's,
Cool.
And thanks, Matt. Like, you're awesome, man. I'm just a little,
Thank
I'm just being honest with everybody. I think I'm starting to get a little bit burnt out. You know what I mean? Like,
it's okay.
I don't know.
You've been doing a lot of shows, man.
Yeah. Like, like it's just, yeah, but like, I still want to keep doing, I still want to keep going. You know what I mean? I just,
Well, I think maybe this is a time of year where like certain things are gonna turn over, meaning like you're gonna end one cycle and you're gonna start a new one. So one might say that if one was feeling kind of burnt out right now, it would be natural because we're at the end of the year of the snake. So you're still letting go, you're still shedding things. And like I was saying, within the coming like weeks, and like honestly, I really believe by the middle of April, everybody that's following a path right now and is willing to put themselves out there, you're going to have more clarity in terms of what you're doing and why. And that said, I know it's hard, but you could, maybe take a day off every once in a while. Although if you're like me, you won't. So you'll be like, no, what are you talking about, bro? I got to do shows. I'm the same way. I'm like, no, I have to talk to somebody or I'll go crazy. So, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
feel
what's
you.
crazy is like if I don't do it, I feel weird. You know what I mean? Like if I
Yes,
don't do it, I
right?
feel weird. So
No,
it's
that
like,
that actually makes a lot of sense. We are meant to fulfill our purpose. And I hate to make it about age and time, but the older you get, the more it matters and the more we need to stay in the stream of service or activity or connection in some form. It makes sense that you'll get, it's like expand and like retract, you know what I mean? The wave will go up and down. But anyway, I just want to say thanks for giving everybody a place to hang out all the time. I know I tend to come into the chat and get weird, and yes, I will argue with people, but honestly, everybody loves you, man, and we love this show, and it's like, hang in there, dude.
thanks, man. And thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. We'll do more shows tomorrow. And yeah, thanks everybody, and have a good night, guys. And